Quietly, the 49ers have been bringing in more players, and a couple of them are standing out to me. I can't wait to talk to you about them in this video. Hit subscribe if you're looking for daily 49ers content. It does genuinely help me out if you wouldn't mind doing that. But let's get into what is going on around the 49ers post-draft. As you know, after the draft, a lot of times you're going to see a lot of undrafted players find their way onto the roster. And there are a couple standouts already in my mind in terms of guys with high upside, good potential, and one of them is on the screen right there. As you can see, Drew Moss out of Colorado State. We'll talk about him. There's another guy later in the video I want to get into that I'm even more excited about. So lots to wait for or lots to stick around for in the video. But let's start with Peter Panessy, by the way, wrote this article talking about the 5 roster moves we know of in terms of undrafteds. There will be more, I'm sure. There were a bunch last year. I want to say there's like 10 at least last year, so there will be more. But let's start off with these 5 roster moves. The 49ers, of course, plenty of draftable talent, says Peter Panessy, slipping through all 7 rounds and into the ranks of the undrafted. Kyle Shanahan has a reputation for not caring where or if a player was drafted. That's good business as a head coach. But anyway, he opts to put the best player on the field as much as possible. And I would add to that, often to a fault. There have been times where we've felt like Christian McCaffrey is out there taking hits and he does not need to be out there taking hits. And then you have a season like last season, and it's not hard to point a little bit of blame at Kyle Shanahan for continuing to let Christian McCaffrey be out there and continue to run him as hard as you are. Obviously, there are other people involved in that process. Bobby T, of course, is in part involved in that process. But at the end of the day, the head coach is held responsible for those types of decisions. And it just felt like in 2023, there were moments during the regular season, especially, where he didn't have to be out there putting his body on the line when games were put away. But all of that being said, I agree with Peter on this point that Kyle Shanahan has a reputation for letting guys play and not really worrying too much about where they were drafted. The 49ers reportedly came to terms with these 5 undrafted players, starting with Sebastian Valdez out of Washington, defensive lineman, who should help round out the third-team unit without much issue. He had 48 tackles and 2 sacks in 2024. And while we're talking about undrafteds, let's not forget the Evan Andersons, the Sam Okuanus. Let's not forget about these other guys out there who are still kicking around the 49ers, and they're looking to make their names known as well. Evan Anderson was a guy, for example, I was really high on last offseason, and he definitely overperformed. A lot of undrafteds, just to make the team, to make the 53 is a pretty special thing. So all of that being said, this goes for all of these guys here, of course, who are now being added to the mix and definitely putting pressure on the players above them. It's healthy. It's good. Defensive back Jacob Robinson out of BYU. San Francisco grabbed a couple of small-sized defensive backs, Upton Stout and Marquise Siegel, who are versatile and can play both nickel corner and safety, and BYU's Jacob Robinson is the 3rd rookie of this mold added. So what is going on with the 49ers getting all of these versatile players? We see it on the line with multiple picks, and we see it again now with multiple defensive backs. What are the 49ers doing getting all these guys who are versatile and can play in all these positions? On one hand, you guys, this is kind of the nature of the position that a lot of guys can do a little bit of both when you get in the corner safety round, like the realm. Like a lot of times that's something that they can do, but it is also exciting to see guys who have actually done it and have a little bit of skill and experience doing it, of course. At 5'10" and 165, size is a concern, but he was quite the ball hawk, recording 11 interceptions and 21 passes broken up during his collegiate career. Not too shabby. Drew Moss out of Colorado State. Peter got this one wrong, calling it Colorado, Deion Sanders program, yada, yada, yada. But Drew Moss, 6'4", 300-pound frame, signals a lot of work toward the interior. That's all true and all 100% legit. I like this, by the way, and I'm going to do something I've only done one other time on this channel. and it was yesterday. I'm going to quote Grant Cohen on what he had to say about Moss and Colby, by the way, saying they're both extremely quick and agile for offensive linemen. Each recorded a 4.58 20-yard shuttle at their pro days. The 20-yard shuttle measures a football player's ability to change directions quickly and to fit the 49ers outside zone blocking scheme. An offensive lineman must be very agile, so Colby and Moss should become functional run blockers for the 49ers. So believing pretty highly there in what the potential is, at least, for both the draft pick as well as this undrafted pick here. So I love all of that. We have one more before I want to get to the last guy that I want to talk about. But we have a running back, Corey Kiner, out of Cincinnati, landing Oregon running back Jordan, which, by the way, guys, this is kind of funny. The 49ers, it's actually a little bit surprising to me that this is the only guy they got out of Oregon, because so many, they sent several guys up there, and there was definitely a lot of connection between the 49ers organization this offseason and prospect players from Oregon. But anyway, landing Oregon running back Jordan James is a boost, especially considering San Francisco churned through tailbacks last season and then lost Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason to offseason transactions. Let's see here. At least Cincinnati's Corey Kiner could be seen as a preseason workhorse after he rushed for back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns for the Bearcats in 2023 and 2024. Of course, the 49ers also drafted a running back. We're going to talk more about him in the coming days, of course. The 49ers have Isaac Guerendo stepping into that Jordan Mason slot as well, presumably, of course. So there's a lot there to like about the 49ers making moves and bringing in extra bodies at these particular positions. But one guy I haven't talked about yet that I want to talk to you guys about, because this is pretty cool, and this is really interesting, all right, for me. I think this is a great move by the 49ers, because you have to remember, okay, Deebo Samuel's gone, okay? You do have other young talent in Ricky Pearsall, in Jacob Cowing, that we want to see elevated this year. You did bring in DeMarcus Robinson, but the 49ers love to have a lot of wide receivers in the 90-man. A lot of them, like double digits if possible. So if the 49ers end up having that many wide receivers, and let's not forget that some of the wide receivers, like the one that was drafted a couple days, I guess it was yesterday, might be punt returner, right? Jacob Cowing could be punt returner. At one point, Ricky Pearsall, I think that was during rookie minicamp, so maybe that doesn't mean anything. But I think, during training camp, I think Ricky Pearsall took some punts as well. So anyway, there's a lot to be decided around that particular position as well. So will the 49ers make any adjustments to kick return based on some of the stuff that they saw last year, based on the analytics after the season was over with the new kickoff rules? Like, who knows, man? Like, there might be some other opportunities. And with the NFL changing that kickoff rule again and making it even more favorable to run the ball, how will the 49ers handle that? Or return the ball, I should say. How will the 49ers handle that? So there's definitely no downside to bringing in extra wide receivers in a system with a guy like Kyle Shanahan who loves to scheme open wide receivers. But wide receiver Isaiah Neyor out of Nebraska. Nebraska's Isaiah Neyor is 6'3", 210. Depends on where you look, by the way. I've also seen 6'4", 220. So he's somewhere in between 6'3", 6'4", and 210 and 220. He's a big dude, though. He's a good route runner, great size, runs a 4.4 40. The most exciting thing about him is he's a big play guy, 17 touchdown passes and averaged 18.3 yards per catch, which, by the way, when you talk about those averages, it reminds me of another player, but I'm not going to make a comp there because that could be dangerous. Nebraska's offense did not allow Neyor to flourish much, but he's a promising red zone threat. Now, realistically, Neyor's probably a practice squad guy, but most definitely a talent the 49ers will want to develop. Not a comp compared to like Juwan Jennings at all. Because there's different things, right? Like you've got Juwan Jennings. Neyor's got him on speed. Juwan Jennings has him on most everything else, strength, blocking, all of that kind of stuff, right? Ability to catch the ball under pressure and through contact, right? So yes, like he's not Juwan Jennings, and I'm not making the comp at all. However, in terms of the position Juwan Jennings had on this roster not too long ago, just a couple of years ago, I could see this guy a year from now develop into that kind of a role. A guy who's further down the depth chart as a wide receiver. However, from a roster point of view, not from a player point of view necessarily, but a guy that can be a go-to guy in interesting situations, similar to Juwan Jennings in 2023, where he was not getting a ton of targets, but when he was, they were these special moments where you had so many guys out on the field. Like, who are you going to block? Are you going to put your energy on this guy, Juwan Jennings, who gets thrown the ball once or twice a game? Or do you put all of your energy on Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk and Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle? Like, it creates opportunities for guys like this who are consistently reliable in big moment situations, and that's who this guy has been. That has me excited. I'm excited about the potential there. A guy that can be a go-to guy in interesting situations where Shanahan can scheme him open and he can produce while everybody else is, trying to figure out how to cover all these other weapons that the 49ers have. And we're not even including, by the way, Ricky Pearsall in there. We saw in preseason, Jacob Cowing had some flashes of what he might be able to do with his quickness, with his twitchiness, with his ability to make a couple of big plays. Yes, it's preseason. I get it. All right. But I'm just saying, there's an opportunity for a guy like this to develop. I'm a big fan of a move like this. And we forget about like Tyreek Owens. Like, there's other guys too that have been practice squad guys that the 49ers believe in developing and believe could become a valuable asset as a player on this 49ers team. So all that being said, I'm hyped about this move. I'm excited about a lot of these undrafted moves. I always get excited about undrafted guys because of the nature of kind of how under the radar they can be. And so this is a move the 49ers have made that I'm a big fan of. And I'm interested to know in the comments what you think about these moves. Do any of these undrafted free agents get you excited? Who are they? Let me know in the comments. I look forward to seeing it there. But until we know more, we're 30 days away from OTAs, which is awesome. I can't wait for OTAs. I'm super excited to be covering it all the way through it, including today. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on all of the action, and appreciate you guys. And hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Enjoyed the draft and all that good stuff. And I'm looking forward to joining you in the comments soon.